when we're investing in two Stanford kids in an idea, we have 10 years of existential risk on the founders. It's the same problem.
Same thing. It seems more pronounced. And then, by the way, some brands wind up transcending their owners, and you go to different restaurants.
100%.
The best one is Margaritaville. Jimmy Buffett licensed his name like crazy. Jimmy Buffett's dead, by the way, sadly.
Yep.
But there is a Jimmy Buffett retirement home. There's a hotel on San Padre Island across from SpaceX. I mean, the license continues. But the second issue that's, I think, the real one is what's included in the deal, what's not. MrBeast had a burger, and there's some sort of lawsuit going on about MrBeast burger.
Yep.
Then there was another person who contacted me to invest in some projects he was doing. There was this constantly are you investing in MrBeast?
Yes.
And project 3, 4, and 5? Or are you investing in projects 2 and 7 and projects 3 and 5 hit and you just made a mistake? And then where do they spend their attention? And then if they do speaking gigs or books,
totally.
Does that get included? Does not get included? So how have you handled this, Sam?
So 100% this is the problem. And for what it's worth, we actually use MrBeast Burger as an example of what not to do, right? The thing that is so different about these creator and community-driven businesses is the brand and there's a lot of equity and value that's held outside of Feastables, right? It's actually Jimmy, right? It's not, and so it's the question is, and I actually think in my experience that by far, the place that, this is with venture capital in general, that people get sideways is when they're misaligned, right? When I've invested in X, but you're doing Y or things like that. And so that's why I go back to this whole thing, which is our approach is extremely holistic. There are obviously things that are outside of the deal, right? If you say, I don't want to be a creator anymore, I'm going to go work at a law firm. That's not in the deal. There's, it's about the creative business, but it's very broad the way we look at it. And some creators don't like this. They say, well, we want you to invest in X and not Y. And I'm like, I get it. It's just not for us then.
Not for us. Yeah.
We look at it holistically. And the thing we like to say to people is two things who get it. One is the reason we're able to give you unrestricted cash and trust you is because we're fully aligned. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not even going to get mad because I'm trusting you with the money to do the right things. I think it's the right emotional thing. The other thing we kind of like to point out to people, and this is, and this is a little bit technical, is because it's holistic, we can deliver a much lower cost of capital to creators, right? If you say, hey, I'm investing in just this narrow slice and I need these commitments from you and it's super finicky, then how I can value that and the probability of success is quite low. When I'm like, hey, creator, you're early in your career, you're showing incredible promise, your community is growing, it's valuable, you've shown some commercial ability, here's several $1 million, years of cash flow, right? For you to double down and make this happen. And, for 10%, meaning if you think you're going to be 10% more successful, this is a great deal for you, right? For the right creators, they get it and it works.
Are creators ready to take on several $1 million in capital?
That's a great
Because a lot of these folks probably aren't.
No, most aren't. This is a game. Yeah. People frequently say this to me. They're like, well, most creators, don't know how to use the use of funds. 100% true. But the venture capital mindset, what we do as seed investors is we're looking at hundreds of deals to find one. Right. And it's kind of a similar thing for now. Now, I do think, and Jason, I'm curious what you think about this because you have experience here, is look, a lot of people will also come and say, look, Sam, we like this idea, but you really need to pair this person with a business person. They're not business people. Mm-hmm. And I say, I heard this story before in 2003 about tech founders, right? Yep. Where you'd find the kids who are great engineers and say, well, that's fine, but they're just engineers. We need to find. And I'm like, that's not the way this is going to evolve. The best will rise and figure out the holistic picture, but it will be a minority of people. It's not most.
I think what you've hit on and what the industry learned, because you and I are of an age, I think as Gen Xers, or maybe you're a millennial. I'm not sure.
I'm technically a millennial, but I'm an old millennial.
Yeah. So it's like Alex, we claim you for Gen X. The hardworking millennials, we take them for the Gen X draft and leave the complainers in millennial land. The point I'd like to make here is, when Larry and Sergey were going public and they were going to make a run at it, they said, you know what? 2 engineers, Stanford, let's get Eric Schmidt. He did Novell, he did this. We can put him in charge. There's an adult in the room, you can do it. And it was unnecessary. It was performative. Eric did provide massive value. Then Zuck came and, Peter Thiel was like, you know what? We don't need somebody to tell Zuck what to do, for better or worse. And then he obviously had Sheryl Sandberg as a collaborator who taught him how to scale the ad network. And you were there, I think, for a lot of this, Sam, so you probably have some thoughts on it. But people over-index on the business guy. And I specifically say guy, but it could be gal, like Sheryl Sandberg was the business gal. And then some people, business guy, Eric Schmidt. You can learn business. There are business experts who are verticalized. You cannot learn to have a motivation and a sensibility about content. That is something innate in the creator. And I will include engineers like Zuckerberg in that creator class. I'll include Elon in that creator class with SpaceX. There's something about the motivation and the drive. That's the magic. The business people can fill in on the margins.
So I'll give you a funny one, which is, this is actually, I'm stealing this from someone, from Mark's sister, Ariel Zuckerberg, who's a great investor.
I've met her. Yeah, she's great.
She's wonderful. So she says, what we're looking for is Rizz and Tiz, right? You got to have Rizz, right? Which is like this is they've got in their community, swagger, charisma, etc. Yeah. And then Tiz is autism. Like, you need to be a little bit autistic about the topic or area you're in, right?
Yeah, this is why I've never had that's why I'm not a billionaire. I have the Rizz, but I don't have the autism to focus long enough to be a billionaire.
I mean, you and I might have that in common. But the point is only that I think we're here to support those types of people. And that's the thing that's special. We do care about people who have demonstrated commercial instincts, right? So you can't, if you're just a creator and you're creating videos, that's wonderful. You can build a great business doing that. That's content oriented, is fine. But, the people who really are ambitious, they've shown that they can monetize, they care to, right? That's an important signal. But, you do the math on it. Let's pretend you're a successful creator making $1 million a year top line on your on content. Pay your team, chop that in half for taxes. You're doing fine, but it's not like you have a bunch of investable capital for business building, which means that you're much more likely to take the sponsorship deal rather than say, no, I can make a better product myself. Right. And what we want to do is enable those seed creators to say, no, I have a better idea. I know the community. I have the access. I want to build something special. And as you said, in an ideal scenario, it goes way beyond where they start.
Nailing product market fit is every founder's top priority. But once you've got your product dialed in, you need to focus on selling it, especially to big customers. We call them lighthouse customers. Some people call them whales. To land those deals, your security compliance has to be rock solid. Certificates like SOC 2 or ISO 27001 are the keys to building trust and unlocking these opportunities, but they take time and energy, pulling you away from building and shipping a beautiful, great product. And that's where Vanta comes in. They're your partner. Vanta is the all-in-one compliance solution, helping startups like yours and mine get audit ready and build a strong security foundation quickly and painlessly. How do they do it? Well, Vanta automates the manual security tasks that slow you down, helping you streamline your audit. And the platform connects you with trusted VCSOs to build your program, auditors to get you through your audits quickly, and a marketplace for essentials like pen testing. So here's your call to action. Whether you're closing your first deal or gearing up for growth, Vanta makes compliance easy. Join over 8,000 companies, including many Y Combinator, Techstars, and launch startups who trust Vanta. Simplify compliance and get $1,000 off at vanta.com/twist. That's VANTA.com/TWIST.